Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Endless Space 2 Awakening. We are really moving now. We still have a long way to go, over 2 million dust left to earn, but we're making up a significant chunk of this every single turn. We're 5 turns off of Wealth of the Endless. I think this is going to be the one, and it doesn't really look like anybody is in any position to challenge us on any victory type. I think we might just have it. I don't want to speak too soon here, but it looks pretty good. So, do we have hacks running? We totally have hacks running. That's the one thing I always forget to do, so I am remembering to not forget to do it. Okay, and with that, let us continue. Oh, this thing does have its probe. We should probably go ahead and probe some stuff down here on Scythe. The game is still loading in just a tiny little bit. So after we finish this game, we're going to go ahead and play another one. I don't know exactly how much more. Oh, wow. We actually got to see a planet get terraformed there. That's pretty weird. I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've ever witnessed that from this distance. I don't know exactly how much more we're going to play in this series, because obviously there are other things coming out. There are other things we need to be doing, but I'm definitely going to do at least one more game. I'm having a good time here. All right, let's search this ruin I have selected arbitrarily. It turns out it's more of that stuff. But hey, extra value for trade routes, right? Our trade routes are being blockaded over here by... that's Cravers. It's Craver vessels. Not a ton we can do about Craver vessels, unfortunately. Yeah, back to Cold War. What we could do... Wow. Our allies really cross with us for not immediately solving the problem that began earlier this turn. What I was going to say is what we could do is declare war on them and then sue for peace. And once we're back in the true state, they can't blockade us anymore for a few turns. Just putting together enough Eden blossoms here, Eden incense. Every time I think, okay, you're going to say the wrong one, so say the other one this time. And every time it's still the wrong one. We're going to buy enough of these to relaunch the nearest population booster. We got them up to 42. That's not bad. How are our populations of nearest citizens doing on our newest systems? Alright, down here we're about to gain another nearest next turn. There's not a ton of population space remaining, although of course there's terraforming to be done. And on Maz we are actually out of terraforming. Well, that's a shame. All of our heroes are leveling up everywhere, which is lovely, except that most of them don't have anything useful to pick upon level up anymore. But you know, it's still good. It's still good for the numbers to go up. I will never say, these numbers are high enough. You will never hear that phrase come out of my mouth. That's not true. It's very frequently the case that the numbers are high enough, but that doesn't mean I don't want them to get higher. I don't know, man. Take this. Minus 10% upkeep costs. That's totally what I want. You know, we're not paying that much for his upkeep. It's like, yeah, 41 dust per turn. So it's not a huge effect. You, on the other hand, totally still have stuff you can take that is meaningful. So 30 industry versus, you know what? Not even actually worth investigating which one of those is better. At this point, the difference is going to be so marginal for us. Oh, hey, Behemoth. Please, give me more. 3 turns to another behemoth. I love it. I love it. You can't ever have enough of them, is the thing. Just keep pumping out the resources. System is now at plus 200 everything, and then double everything. I don't know. I'm assuming that flat bonuses apply, and then percentage bonuses apply. That's usually the way things stack up in these games. So we went from, what, 246 to 259 there? So we're making like 130k per turn. That can't... It's obviously not including everything, or it may not be updating with the values that we're getting off of the marketplace taxes. And then there's not really anything we need to buy, right? All of our systems are level 4. I mean, we can sell stuff just to sell stuff, but there's not really a strong impetus for us to do that. I guess the only thing we want to do is continue advancing the trade companies. And at this point, we don't need any of our luxury resources at all. Except occasionally we need some Eden incense? Hey, I did it right. That might have been the first time ever. Yeah, occasionally we're going to need some Eden incense, which is, like, whatever. Not very difficult to get a hold of. And then he bought trading barges. Okay, we do need to resolve that that blockade situation. My trading companies are not getting what they need to get done. So I'm gonna declare on you. And then he's gonna be like, "Oh God, please no! Don't blow me up with your massive, vastly superior fleets." Right? Right? That's what he's gonna say? Of course it is. He knows better than that. Obviously, if this were almost any other faction, we would resolve this problem in a more permanent way via forced peace, but Cravers don't really do that. What plan? So I declared a thing. Okay, so all of those messages were from him. Okay, that's got our trade companies back in order. Back doing the thing they're supposed to be doing. And I suppose we could be doing rush buyouts in places, but, like, they're expensive. And also, does it matter? Does it really? Should probably get Cerebral Reality finished, I guess. This is pretty bad here. This'll be good, though. Give me some of that science. And then, honestly, Pulvis production probably makes more sense than these, And that's pretty good, actually. Whatever. We'll pull this production first. It's a little bit cheaper, so it'll start showing return faster. I do wish that we had more detailed information on exactly where everybody else is in the victory conditions, but not because we need it. It was mostly just like idle curiosity. Alright, so we're finishing the Dust Anti-Trafficking Center, which should be pretty good on Othera. That should help all of our trade companies out quite a bit. We're also finishing some of these distributed towers soon. We finished vining up Arcturus, so down to Esh. Apparently my ships did not feel it was worth using the portal system. It's right there. I mean, they got the portals on both systems. You may as well. Yeah. Okay. One more skill point until he gets beam counter, which is actually quite relevant. No. Okay, those did get committed. It takes a little while for them to lock in, because the game is running very poorly. Yeah, we'll give you more science. Okay, he's got us up into a tier that's going to be pretty helpful. There are actually a lot of skill points over the grand mass of our heroes that still matter. It's just that we have a couple of heroes who are beyond all that.
Appreciative of your attitude and is always ready to lead advice.
Wow, this is maybe the grossest message that I've ever been sent by a computer player in a video game. Get all hot and sweaty as we lance the boil. Why is that a thing that gets you excited, dude? I mean, listen, I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm sorry, that sounded judgmental. I'm not trying to be like, hey, if you get hot and sweaty from boil lancing, you're a bad person. Because I don't believe that. But I do definitely have like a visceral reaction to that combination of words, and it's not a positive one. Alright, give me some of this. This place should probably build the MXBA. And then we're getting very close to just being in make dust mode over here. I guess there's still some stuff to do. We can reduce some aurora waves. We can do a bit of terraforming. Oh yeah, terraform from Barren to Arctic is like huge. And there are nearest in this system as well, so that'll give us a chance to get some more of those guys going. Terraform this planet to a forest. Because we're getting to the point, like once we have Wealth of the Endless, I'm not nearly as concerned about science anymore. Yeah, okay, so we'll let all that stuff happen. You should have a probe this turn. Let's go ahead and probe Signal, Life Form, or Ruin. Let's go Ruin. Ruin could be more dust water. Nope, it was more of that stuff. Well, those are fine too. Alright, and then up on Dill, we also could use the MXBA, and then that's actually... Dill is actually done building stuff that matters after that. Which is pretty cool. Also, it's super nice to just have so much money that I can buy whatever I want whenever I want. I don't even look at the price values anymore. So yeah, this will be the point where we start reforming Dill. Transformation to steps is fine. -1 dust per citizen, but +2 citizens is not necessarily a big gain. What else could we do? It's the same thing, right? These are all Arctic worlds. So we would go from 6 dust being made by 5 citizens to 5 dust being made by 7. Which is, you know, it's better. That's more. It's a larger number. Alright, do all of these things. There's going to be some other retrofitting that goes on. We'll worry about that after we get these terraforms done. There's still some optimization to do. Also, just an awful lot of ships that don't belong to the United Empire out here in United Empire space. Don't know what that's about. It may be the case that some of the AI are scouting to see whether it is worth it to attack the UE player. Well, he seems to have a fleet over there. And any trouble he gets into, I think the Lumeris and I can probably buy him out of, so it'll be fine. If the other AI players outside of our alliance were to respond to our increasing closeness to the economic victory with an attempt to destroy us, which you might argue they should on account of the fact that what they're doing now is certainly not going to result in them winning the game, I'm not confident that they even could challenge us at this point. The UE and the Lumeris both already have fleets, and the Lumeris could revolutionize their fleet very easily and quickly, and then I can also just purchase a fleet of very modern ships, because we have all that military tech already and everything. I think the other players are just kind of doomed. But it's still fun to watch the numbers go up. For a tech seeker leveled up twice that turn somehow. Apparently I did this. Oh, that's true, I did. I moved the scout ship out of their space. I didn't even remember them being upset about that. Did we fail a quest? Oh, somebody else intercepted the photobomber. Alright, well, good luck with him. Have fun. Here on Zeturbia. Yep, same deal as always. I will say that that is getting more expensive. And then once that's done, Monsoon Terraform is pretty bad. Going to a steppe world is just better than going to a boreal world. Ocean and forest are very similar, but forest has a little bit more industry, which will translate into a little bit more dust. Sorry, hold on. That was forest versus Terran. How do we feel about Terran? Terran is +1. These are both just +1. Okay. Forest it is. Again, the extra point of industry. And hey, what do you know? It looks like we need to buy 24 or 25 more Orichalcics. I will say that for our next game, we'll probably turn down the galaxy size a little bit. I think playing with this number of players is breaking things a little bit. I'm building punctuated evolution everywhere. I probably don't really need to be. Because again, there are still technologies that give us money, but there aren't so many anymore, and they're certainly less important than they used to be. Oh wow, it's going to take a while here. Indusa is not good at building things. Alright, lots and lots of that stuff left. We still need to wait on you for a while. Our hacks are getting traced, but you know, they'll complete or they won't. At this point, not even really worth worrying about. So 216,000 dust. Let's just go ahead and sell a whole lot of garbage here. And then plow some more money into the trade companies. Or I suppose we could just buy stuff out on the planets. I don't know that, I don't know which one of those things is actually better in the long term. Don't really need you. Honestly, we don't really need anything except the Orichalcics that we don't have access to. The only thing we could be doing here differently is we could be trying to build pillars, but I don't think it's worth worrying about. Yeah, so trade in resources, and geez, look at the costs of these things. I mean, our trade companies are producing amounts of dust that, frankly, would be illegal if we didn't definitely have maximal regulatory capture on account of all of this money. Could we put together another 18k right now? Probably not, right? We really don't have anything to sell. I'm holding on to that for the nearest. So nearest are at 43 now. It's possible, totally possible we will get to 50 before the end of the game. 284. Could be going faster. I mean, we're doing everything in our power to speed that up, right? Wealth of the Endless is definitely going to help. So we're at a flat 77k now. That's without considering the amount of money that we make every single turn on ridiculous trade taxes. I gotta think at this point I am the majority contributor, or at least the plurality contributor from our alliance toward our alliance victory. Yeah, you don't have anything else. You know what? Take Battlefield Grandmaster. Why not? The odds that I'm going to put you in a ship and have you pilot a fleet around are basically zero, but you know, what if I did? What if I decided that needed to happen? Wouldn't we want you to have that skill? Oh, we're definitely building up toward Renegade Master on Ublart Assasius here. Oh, Godel still has a long, long way to go before he gets to his bean counter. Produced another economic behemoth already. Do we build another one, or do we want to, like, jam out some of this other stuff here real quickly? I mean, I guess it's not even really some of this other stuff. It's pretty much just this. Let's go ahead and do that. Because in addition to everything else, that helps us build future behemoths. I get that done, and then build me an economic behemoth. I'm sure you'll be surprised to hear that that's what I want. All right. Relations are breaking down with somebody. Big Alliance went to war with us.
Your actions are those of faithless.
All right, I'm being threatened. I'm getting distressed calls from people about attacking them, which is not even a thing that's happening. All right, they want help. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and guess that we can probably just go to truce. Honestly, it probably the Riftborn are the ones we want to go to truce with. But I don't know. Let's see if yeah, because like the Riftborn were expressing distress, right?
Tell me why you're here now.
That said, the amount of red in the bar when we offered the truce to Horatio does make me a little concerned that we may not be able to talk our way out of this immediately, which is annoying mostly because of the trade route issue. I'm not actually scared of these guys, but I really would love to have my trade routes functioning, because this is going to slow down our victory. It's not going to stop it, but it is going to slow it. So what would I have to trade to you to get you to calm the hell down? Here's all this trade technology. Maybe you want to use this to build some trading companies. Let me tell you something. They're pretty great. Wow, you don't have... How on earth do you think you are going to fight a war with me? We're getting close. The suggest terms thing is still not lighting up, which, you know, has me a little concerned. Wow, what is up with your technology? What do you have?
Well.
It feels like they just might not have anything, so I'm trying to give them stuff that, like, I don't think really harms us, but I think the AI will view as valuable. Antimatter channeling is probably okay. We can afford to give away an awful lot here. Having our trade routes function is worth so much to us. How about also, I know how the AI traditionally feels about... I don't want to give them a territory, obviously. How about this? There's no way you're going to get value out of Xeno NLP. I guess emergency labor policy might do something for you. And then, like, this as well. It's just like they don't have the... Given their technological state, there's no way they can afford to actually build these buildings. Let's just get out of this war. I have no interest in being in this war, and I do not think that this alliance is anywhere near a science victory or anything. We're not putting ourselves in any danger by giving them a whole lot of tech. Alright. How much has that screwed with our approval level, not being at peace with everybody anymore? Okay. Brought some of our systems down below 100, but not enough to matter. It does lower our dust output a little bit because of the fact that we now we are no longer getting quite the same benefit from the fair trade bill. But we'll get there. We'll get back to them. So what do we want to be researching now? What makes sense? Looking at these endless technologies, Power of the Endless is good. All of our systems are ecstatic, so just like plus all resources is cool. This endless tech doesn't really do anything for us. I don't know that we actually need any of the top tier techs from any of the quadrants. Yeah, that doesn't really help. Chaotic meteorology is a huge amount of food. It's not really super useful at this point in the game. Okay, you know what? The super biofuel factory would actually be pretty good in a bunch of places because we are food capped like everywhere. And then we could grab chaotic meteorology as well, just because it has ecologist political impact. None of these really do very much. The Citadel Advanced, I mean, if we decided we wanted a Citadel, it would be good to have that. If we ever built one. And then we don't need the High Serenity program. Sure. Okay, so that'll unlock 3 of the techs toward this, and then we can grab a bunch of science stuff pretty easily. F Reality Institute, I suppose. You know, if we're still talking about doing research, probably we buy the research buildings first. Behemoth advancements, those are support modules that we will not be using. They require our behemoths to be doing things that they're not doing right now. But what we could use is maybe like the applied Casimir effect. Oh yeah, plus population space, sure. Let's actually make those the first priorities. That matters. We can get a little bit more population crammed into our existing systems. Now, I will say that we can only do that like desperate peace move so many more times because that was like a pretty significant percentage of the technology that we have that they don't. And they could declare war on us before the truce ends. Like, they could get back to being a huge thorn in my side. I didn't spend all my dust. I should probably do that. They could totally get back to being a huge thorn in our side. We'll see what happens. If they have enough influence, they could just redeclare war on us even through the peace treaty. Or through the you know... Yeah, peace treaty. So, I don't know. If they do that, it will be annoying, but probably still not, like, threatening. Alright, we got ourselves the ability to build a new science thingy. Oh, Tsing is, Tsing needs to keep up with the times. Unfortunately, new science thingy costs antimatter. Well, there's, it turns out, just a ton of everything on the market, probably partially because I keep selling things to the market. Alright, so get that done. Do we want to terraform these? No, we do not. This system is actually properly terraformed and everything. This is as good as we're getting. Okay. Running even more vines. Do we see... You know, I was going to look around for other players we can make trade contracts with, but never mind. We're already... Oh no, now we're actually running the extra routes. Yeah, so if we did find another player with trade companies, we could make a deal with them. I'm not 100% sure why we are now able to run trade routes to the trade companies that we were not able to before. But so we'll just do a really quick check for any trade companies that we did not see before. The Cravers have some. Can we do that? Is that a thing that you can do with Cravers? Because I could certainly afford a trade agreement. Well, we could, even if we could do it, we probably can't do it while we're at truce with them. But that's interesting that the Cravers went to the trouble. The Yanni have some too.
We are too polite to
Yeah,
say
we're
what
just
we are
not allowed
thinking.
to propose that kind of treaty during the truce state. So the AI is... Several of the AIs are slowly getting into really late game trade companies. Not the optimal way to use trade companies, in my opinion. Right, spend your dust. ASB, did you want to, like, consider winning the game at some point? Maybe spend your dust. But with us producing 73k dust per turn, there's really just not that many turns left. Alright, Eli Leandra gets to get bean counter, so that's 16% more dust on that system, which is pretty good. Longomoto is really producing just a ton of high-value stuff. The system is incredibly productive. Okay. Yazar is Riftborn, and that means Embed Sleeper. Then we gotta hack another thing. Oh no, sorry, we were hacking from Antares. That's right. I went to all the trouble of setting up a thing. So we're pulling in 102 dust from them as we continue to install sleepers that will continue to grow. It's not even really a drop in the bucket relative to our current output. Alright, so we're going to need 3 techs from up here. The anomaly framework will give us a dust building. That sounds pretty good. Wait, how do I add stuff directly to the front of the queue? Is it alt-click? Yes, okay, alt-click. And then advanced non-baryonics is not super good for us. Ontological reverse engineering is fine, I guess. I don't actually want that to be first. But like being able to nullify the effects of negative anomalies is cool. And then, sure, more population space sounds fine. Although again, probably should come after. Super light aerodynamics is just a whole bunch of extra movement. I don't know that matters too much. Okay, so now we have in the queue everything that we need to unlock the power of the endless, in case we need to unlock the power of the endless, you know? Alright, Sing is back to old school dust production, and we are back to buying stuff out or trade. I mean, like, it's probably going to be trade barges, right? Traditionally, it has been trade barges. Where are we at on this population boost? There's 5 turns left. So let's assume that we will need like 50-ish in 5 turns. Okay, we generate the stuff fast enough that in 5 turns we will have more than we need. Let's just go ahead and sell a pretty huge amount of stuff. We are not selling the antimatter anymore. And we're just sitting on, you know, a couple 100,000 dust, just a few hundreds of thousands, that's all. And the question is, like, how much do we want to buy out buildings versus just plowing it all back into the trade companies, which are, at this point, earning us just a very, very silly amount of money. And I think it's got to be just keep driving up the value of the trade companies. It gets to be expensive to run these things, but that's almost 20,000 dust per turn, right there. These 3 trade companies together are actually a really significant portion of our overall income. And then we're just continuing to wait. What did we gain by unlocking this? We got access to a better engine module. We don't really need that. think we're just going to let everybody finish building what they're building. Oh, you know what? Sing could actually use this thing. So this will give us a couple extra population slots. There are no nearest on this system, and we wouldn't get nearest here quickly enough for them to potentially reproduce anyway. I'm just going to let it run like that. But I think we are going to make it to 50 nearest. Seems pretty likely. So you can see, even though the center of the NGC 10801 node is now within yellow space, because we vined it up first, it remains orange. You can tell by the nameplate. Remains in our control. We probably should have gotten a larger vine fleet up sooner. Oh hey, we're totally winning this competitive quest. Somebody discovered the home world of the Sophons here, which is cool. Hostile trace detected is pretty whatever. You are just going to keep generating industry. Okay, lots of important stuff getting built everywhere. What do we need here now? I mean, it's probably smart to build us an F-Reality Institute, so let's go and purchase the rest of the resources necessary for that. Hey, what a surprise. It's the same number it was last time. And then once that's done, we definitely have some terraforming to do. So Savannah seems like a winner here. It's Mediterranean world. Should become a Terran world. Can't do that with those, unfortunately. Then I think we can respec this. In fact, we can probably respec that at the beginning without changing any build times. And IMEX is getting very close to being completed as well. Although obviously,
touch turns to slime.
What on earth are you talking about? Listen, if you kick me out of the Alliance, there's a non-zero chance that I immediately win the game. I'm not not actually sure what amount of dust that we have produced as a group is mine, but it's totally possible that we are already over the victory threshold, and I just don't know it because I haven't been keeping track enough. 380k dust there when I hit end turn. You know, it's very difficult for me to keep things in my brain for any period of time. So what's the reward for Ghosts and Dust? Oh right, 800 dust. Yep. Late game quests. Like, I don't know, you would have to come up with some kind of cool, relatively unique reward for each one of these, because at this point, there's no amount of resources that it would be, like, okay to give me that also I would care about. Let's go ahead and build the cosmetic genetics here. And it might actually be worth buying some of these out just to get the population growth going as quickly as possible. So this will give us an extra population slot on 2 of these worlds. I'm going to do it. I'm going to want to swap down to Colonial Exchange at some point here. The endless tech that we're going for now is definitely less critical than the last one. We should still be going for it, but it's, you know, not quite the same priority, so I'm okay with swapping our systems off of science specialization. And then we still have actually quite a lot of stuff to build here. Let me get some of this. Apparently we're bringing in Orichalcix via our trade companies at this point. Distribute some energy. Gonna need a little bit more. Let's just go ahead and put a whole lot of stuff in the queue. We certainly have the money to afford the resources. And if you're wondering why our heroes are leveling up so quickly, it's mostly just that we're building things so frequently. Every time a thing gets built in a hero system, the hero gains XP based on the industry cost of the thing. So we're building large things at an incredible rate. Okay, I don't know. This? He sure is leveling up a lot in a way that does not help me even a small amount. I don't think he even has any skills that are scaling with his level. That's fairly common. There's a number of skills that will give you extra resources based on your hero level, but I don't think he has any of them. Alright, you're talking about a science agreement, which I'm not really interested in. You cannot build any more behemoths. We did actually hit the top on that. Well, here's the thing you can do, and probably pretty quickly. And then that also would be a great thing to do. Then we'll build all this garbage. That'll go into a second turn. Some mining tech would be cool. God, look at how productive this system is. 8.2k industry per turn. We're just like burning through these buildings with incredible speed. We should probably build one of those. Okay, and where are we at on behemoth technology? We would need 2 more behemoth techs. We do have 2 behemoth techs in the queue, but they're a little ways off. So the question is, do we want to build another C3 center? What do our systems look like in terms of... This is not the button. In terms of dust output. Sort by dust. Sing is still massively the winner. So we should probably be moving all of these behemoths over there. I think I'm probably going to let them sit here for just a minute, though. So, does this place already have a C3 center? It does not. We would need to buy, weirdly, 5 Hyperium and then also 10 antimatter. So we can definitely do that and then get another, behemoth upkeep is starting to get a little more severe. Do that and then build another economic behemoth here. And we'll leave our behemoths in position to assist with that endeavor. Alright, are there any other systems around here that need stuff explored? We discovered benthic gems. Great. Looks like the answer to that question is currently no. I am not seeing any glowing curiosities. Well... I mean, may as well. I don't really know that we have a lot else to do here. I know that that player is not part of my alliance and that exploring their stuff is not actually going to help us financially. But, like, what else am I going to do with the scout? Just have him sit there? Do we have a trade agreement with the Vaulters? I know they didn't have trade companies for a long time. We totally don't.
Our trials have not hardened our hearts.
And then the cooperative protocol with them is not like a big deal, but we may as well do it, right? We certainly have the influence income. They'd be willing to give me something. Like, all I really want from them, though, is tech. Oh, they do have technologies that we care about. They could accelerate us a little bit here. Their technological advancement's very impressive. I'll take that. Yeah, that's something we were absolutely... that was in our queue. So our cooperative protocols are great. It's nice of the AI to start developing all these trading companies for us.
I am pleased that we could come to an
Okay,
agreement.
cool. Yeah, 2k influence per turn, when you have very little else to spend it on, is handy, for sure. So... truce for 6 more turns over here. So when this truce breaks, we may have to redeclare war and then declare truce again. So there's no way we're going to be able to get him to stop blockading. And then in 6 turns, we can maybe negotiate some new agreements with those guys. Obviously, the peace force would be really useful. Kind of curious about something. I'm going to send this ship down here to vine this up. Because I'm pretty sure me vining it after it's inside somebody else's zone of influence does not give me the benefit that it yields. But let's actually make sure of that. Realizing I don't know that. This is okay here, and then who knows? Build that, get me population space, and then we'll talk. 3 more turns on the nearest boost, up to 47 nearest population. And 85k income, and also I just have money sitting in the bank, not being spent on improvement. Over 20k per turn on our highest trade company now. And it's just going to keep climbing, and it's going to keep climbing faster. Okay, so we've already got trade routes, or proper trade routes running. Takes a little while to develop them, it looks like. Because why else would we be able to... Why else would we have one trade route with one of the Vaulter subsidiaries at this point? Atlas was hacked. Let's embed a sleeper. And then do we want to just run the hack to Atlas again? Probably. Safe and easy. It's pretty far from, like, vital. It's not giving us huge advantages. Need a lot of population. Okay, we did, in fact, hit 50 nearest. That turn, 4 nearest were born. So, let's have a look at the law. I don't think I've ever seen it before. Is this them? The Zero Tolerance Waste Act, bringing their expertise in ecologically minded living to ensure that all materials are recycled back into use. The inaction of this piece of nearest-inspired legislation raises approval levels across the Empire, and like really hard. Actually, that's a ton of approval. And these the minor faction laws are neutral laws that have no upkeep cost. So if you are playing a faction that does not have the silly influence output that you're seeing here, those can be even more valuable because of the fact that they do not tax your influence output. It is not the case that you always have enough influence to do whatever you want. We've been very fortunate in that way. The Pocket Laboratory seems like a thing that's worth building. Sure, give me one of those, and then also we're going to buy some more resources. Shame I can't buy 20.1 antimatter. Oh, we do still need the MXBA here as well. 40,000 dust? Yeah, sure, whatever. Just put it on my tab. Or, I mean, they're definitely not keeping a tab, right? We own the marketplace, so they're definitely not really doing it that way. Does Sing benefit from any of the stuff that we've unlocked? Nope. We can just leave this on emergency dust production. And getting lots of stuff done. Hey, what's our population makeup? Is there any other... Not really. All of our other minor populations are pretty small, pretty irrelevant in terms of, like, voting. So we have a ton of ecologist will and a ton of pacifist will, and that's all that really matters. And if we lost the ecologist party, like, we would lose some dust output, but it's not a huge amount of dust output. Damn it, I again hit the button without buying trade freighters. Hopefully it's obvious that this is not going to matter a huge amount. Oh. Huh, there are resources on Polaris that we haven't found yet. How did I manage to miss those? Well, I could probably build a scout and go after that. But do I care? Is the real question. Dude here is going to, he's going to unlock absolutely everything before the end of the game. Now, the game does have, as many 4X type games do, this game does have automation features. We could assign an AI governor to make the decisions on our systems for us to speed this process up a little bit. My feeling on that is that, first of all, generally, they do a bad job, and they will sometimes do weird things like set your system into industry into resources mode when there's other stuff worth building, and it wouldn't be great. Alright, another economic behemoth, although at some point we're going to want to stop building these because the upkeep is starting to get a little harsh. But also, like, this is kind of what playing the game is, right? Like, making these decisions. I don't know that I really want to automate this part, even if it is a little bit samey. Tedious is probably too strong a word, which is why I hesitated. Like, we're definitely making the same decisions in all of our systems, one by one. And then once that's done, I think it is time to start terraforming here as well. So terraform to a step world. You guys actually cannot be terraformed. You can be swapped over to Colonial Exchange. You guys are going to vine this up, and we're going to see if anything happens. My guess is, no, nothing will happen. I will not get control of it. It will not provide us resources. We have a lot of really basic science infrastructure to build here. Like, actually kind of a weird amount of science infrastructure. How did we not have public-private partnerships yet, you know? That didn't actually purchase. I clicked buy and it just like hung for a second and then decided, you know what? I don't think you actually wanted to buy that. Alright, I'm going to need 34 of that because I want to put this and also this in the queue. And Heartfire's about to build microwave pipes. What would it cost to buy out the microwave pipes? 231? How many trade freighters is that at this point? It's not even 2. That's probably okay to do. Star system trade value is completely irrelevant here. This system is outside of all of our trade routes, but this is not irrelevant. Neither is distributed energy, which will take forever to build, to the point where we're probably not even going to bother putting it in the queue yet. We will, we'll run that on a turn when we can just buy the whole thing out all at once. So then I can buy a freighter with this amount of money. Let's buy one for Astrobrand's Logistics. It turns out, logistically speaking, they're the most competent dudes in the room. Actually, we haven't sold resources. We could be buying more stuff here. We have a lot of money. I think we can afford to sell those. We're not using that resource all that much anymore. Man, our mining rate on the meta Intactogen is over 40 per turn. Now, granted, that's a little bit less impressive than it once was on account of the fact that I'm selling 40 of those per turn means the price has crashed a little bit. But it's only crashed relative to those tier 3s. Like, we're doing fine, all things considered. Do I want to keep pushing the nearest? Because we're about to run out of that booster. I think at this point the answer is probably no. The ecologist party, I think, is pretty entrenched. And we don't really need more of a population type that is giving us food. Now that the curiosity of figuring out what their law is over, I think we're probably good. Oh, IMAX somehow doesn't have a thing to do. Well, it seems like it should probably be that. And then also we do have a gas giant, and it's a science-based gas giant, so percentage science boost on it is fairly significant. Where are we at on the victory condition? Okay, we're almost at 4 mil. Let's buy a couple more trade barges and pass the turn. Did I miss another one somehow? We have a lot of systems, you know? Just, it's gonna happen. Alright, Cosmic Genetics, and then... I mean, Dust Bonanza's pretty good. We do have to, yeah, we have to reduce the anomaly in order to get the benefit from Dust Bonanza here, but Dust Bonanza is going to apply to Zaturbia 4 right away. And then, F Reality Institute. Do I still have enough money to purchase all this stuff? I do. It's close, but I do. Doesn't need to all be in the queue right now, but we may as well put it all in the queue right now. Trying to at least keep a lid on how much micromanaging we have to do every single turn. So one turn to chlorophyll chemistry, and then I think that completes the science portion of our research. Oh, and that quest finished, so we're about to get 800 gold. Hooray! It's true, systems entwined by celestial vines are immune to Academy conversion. Why is that even appearing? The Nakalim's nowhere near us. Well, I mean, the Vaulters, I think, probably completed the tech that allows you to peacefully take over systems. Obviously, it will not affect us at all. Isiander is pleased with my progress, and so he gives me just the change he had in his pocket at the time. Alright, the Academy secondments are going to fall off in 5 turns. We are not going to renew our nearest population boost. We do not need them boosted any longer. Alright, you're about to get Beam Counter, but also Tech Hubs, which is pretty alright. I think all we want from you is more industry. We don't actually have a ton of choices there anyway. And you can grab, I don't know, approval or something. Think that makes sense? That probably makes sense. Alright, everybody's got lots of important stuff to build except for Dill. +3 population on gas worlds. Yes, please. More population. How does Dill not have adaptive taxation systems? That's wild. Can we... Hold on. Can we maybe do it like this? And then we should probably reduce these anomalies to increase the effectiveness of Dust Bonanza, and also because, you know, these anomalies are bad. And then I think it's maybe terraforming time here. And we could jam out a little bit more science. So we're 6 turns away from being able to push up here. Yeah, chlorophyll chemistry is not the last thing of the science tier. It's the first thing of this tier. So that'll help. We have a lot of population. We certainly don't need the 20 approval. Alright, we're back to Cold War with him. We don't have to do the War and Peace thing as long as he is not attacking our, as long as he's not blockading the trade routes. It is getting less and less important that we make sure to spend all of our dust because we're getting relatively smaller value out of it now that it doesn't buy anywhere near as many trade companies as it used to. That's my excuse for why it's okay that I'm doing a bad job. It is definitely, like, objectively still the case that I am doing a bad job. Bed sleepers. Always more sleepers. Are they removing them? I think they might be removing them, but if we can install a new one every 6 turns, that's only very slightly slower than the removal, so actually we will probably keep them fairly busy. Alright, chlorophyll chemistry is pretty whatever. We're just pushing upward now. So, I really do wish there was a faster way of doing this. We can go ahead and sell all of the Eden incense. I don't get credit for that one. I got to see it on screen before I said it. Honestly, we can sell pretty much everything. The only thing that really makes sense to hold on to is the antimatter, and I guess the orichalcics. It doesn't. The orichalcics doesn't really matter. We don't even really have any. Okay, close to 1 million dust to use for stuff.
Her Majesty.
Another war.
Desperate acts for desperate.
Yeah. I'll save you. Don't worry. I will save you. Valana wants to join our alliance. I don't want that to happen. I'm a little worried she's going to go and ask my allies and they're going to be stupid and let her in.
I listen with one hand on my blade.
Come on, man. First of all, we're friends. And secondly, you know that I could crush you. Yeah, let's make this easy. Hold on, we have to wait until they are not considering a contract with somebody else. Well, I guess, do we have anything else to do this turn? We don't, in fact. Not really. I'm going to refuse this treaty, because we're very close to the game being over. Alright, can I please get my truce now? Oh, we have the influence necessary to make a pretty serious demand on Evgenia here, which we are not going to do, because that is not how friends behave. We can force truce with those guys in 2 turns. And yeah, we have peace with so few people now that we're like actually being negatively affected pretty strongly. All of this war declaration nonsense, if they were doing it as like a part of a real strategy, if they actually had any interest in using war as a way of stopping me, I'd be a little bit less annoyed by it, but they are absolutely just basically wasting everybody's time. Alright, we do not need to have these behemoths around Zosmanos anymore. I think I'm going to go ahead and move them up to Tsing. I think that makes sense to do. We're probably not going to build another behemoth, so select all, but then unselect that guy because he's not actually one of these things. And everybody fly back here. I'm going to take 5 turns, so we're going to have a little bit of a dip in our dust output for a minute here. And you actually, I mean, yeah, personal network's good, and because he's a political leader, this is actually very, very good. I think that's your last relevant skill point. Good time to get it. Molgamoto, I don't know, man. Just put a point in a thing. Whatever thing you want. Whatever feels like it makes sense to you.
I think you will appreciate this.
Still not interested. I get it, though. She wants to win the game. She sees she's not going to win on her own. She's like, hey, maybe you could just rope me into your victory. Doesn't that sound fun? And I think at this point we are redesigning this system. So let's re-engineer this crummy soil. And then what makes sense for terraforming? That's a terrible move. So terraforming into a forest doesn't actually give us any more dust, but it gives us 4 more population. So it's that this planet is currently producing 4 dust per pop. So this would have us producing 44 from pop. This will make it 54. Oh no, sorry, 48. I see 8 plus 1, and my brain just automatically reads 9, but it's saying that 8 is plus 1 from what we currently have. So it's actually not a huge difference. But it does look like desert is very slightly better. Sorry, that's already happening. Okay, so we'll do some of that. And then I think this system is on emergency labor policy. We're running out of stuff to build again. No, apparently that does in fact just steal it from them. That's wild. I mean, again, they could sever the vines even by just having a fleet of ships go over here and cut them away. So I guess there's counterplay there. It's not a terrible thing. Now that you're talking to me about alliances, we could start vining up your worlds. I don't know that that really helps us, though. So, now that we know that that works that way, why don't you guys come back over here? And we'll just steal some of these special nodes. Is Kamos where you were going? Or did you get stopped by... I think, yeah, we were headed to Farver. But we don't have... We're not allowed to go over there. Okay, well, you know what? Just go to sleep. That's fine. You've done some great work. Why don't you guys just take a nap? Been a big game for you. Alright, 1 million dust. Let's just roll that into the trade companies. So we lost some trade value here. Do we have blockaded routes? Wait, why is my trade value so bad? Yeah, we totally do have blockaded routes. Okay, well, you know what that means.
What do you sound like when you scream?
It sounds a little bit like this.
Speak your mind.
I'm not even going to wait to see. I'm just going to assume that he wants the truce because he always wants the truce. He didn't take it.
Your actions threaten.
Okay, well, I mean, us being at war with him is not any worse. No, wait, he totally did take it. It just took forever to change the symbol. Okay, so that'll unblockade all of our trade routes, which gets us back to, yeah, the values that we are expecting to see. 91k dust per turn. Definitely cannot afford to not be running those trade routes. And actually, we could probably buy one more freighter this turn, I think. Are we making... Yep, we are actually making well over 100 blue cap mold per turn. And it's actually still selling relatively well. For the amount that we've dumped on the market, it's kind of insane how much money we are still able to make off of it. Was that enough? Oh, it's so close. So close to the one I want. I mean, this is fine. This is still a pretty good increase. Okay, and those are just communications with Craver Prime there. Alright, and this is without all of the behemoths at their new location. We're going to see another sharp jump up in dust when that happens. The Vaulters are doing a pretty good job of crowding out the Riftborn here. Winning the battle through force of culture rather than force of arms, which I appreciate as a big tree who doesn't like it when things are blown up. Yep, they are purging my sleepers on what's it? Oh, on Atlas as well. They're purging our sleepers all over the place. Well, you know, they're getting notifications about when their systems are compromised, so they know where the sleepers are. Not that it matters much. Like, oh no, my 102 dust, right? Okay, we can
Your contact with us brings
re-peace with these guys.
joy.
I'm not even going to bother trying to... Oh, okay, hold on. I do not, in fact, have a disdain for our alliance. We detected some guys, and then we just went back to sleep.
I think you will appreciate this.
I don't know where the AI is getting all this disdain for our alliance stuff. Not only am I not...
Come to pry on the most
Not only am I not evincing disdain for our alliance in any way, I'm also the one who's dragging us toward victory as quickly as possible.
There is nothing about them.
Horatio acknowledged.
Okay, so those blockades probably, my guess is those blockades were... They were not cleared up. The number of disabled trade routes. The associated headquarters/subsidiary might be blockaded or the routes try and fail to pass through a hostile system. Incidents are around Leo, Menace, Cancer... Okay. Show me one of these. What is the problem? Because we're at... Oh, the Nakalim declared war on us.
With the Nakalim.
Right. I'm receiving so many messages all of the time. Her response to me not being in her alliance was to declare war on me.
Horatio's.
Alright, so none of that matters. This was the war declaration. Okay, so now we should be totally clear? Right? Yeah, okay. About damn time. Go ahead and buy some of that, and then... What does Zeturbia still need to do? This is fine here. So's a little bit more science, and then it's just a matter of making sure that we're all the right planet types, which we are. Okay, I think Zeturbia is clear. It is time to go to dust production, which, honestly, we already have a pretty impressive dust production, and converting 50% of this amount of industry into dust is going to be pretty significant. We're going to see a very, very large dust per turn in a moment here. In just a few turns as we continue to complete systems. Probably other order there. A savanna is a pretty good way to generate dust. Monsoon's a bad move, though. The savanna worlds are good. And this has arced pretty well for us. We're just about running out of ways to convert our systems to make more dust off of them as we are approaching the victory. Oh, right. I totally do have other systems that matter. That's a fair point. I'm not actually sure how many more turns we're looking at here. It's not a lot. Is there anything else that needs doing here? I suppose there could be some terraforming. Nope. We're all good here. How are you? Oh, here we definitely still have some work to do. So we may as well build the interplanetary transport network. It's not a huge amount of industry, but it's also more than nothing. And then a super biofuel factory, which will complete as the population spaces from the genetics tech are completed. The Citadel advanced upgrade is finishing. We're going to throw our weight behind the ecologist party, but again, if they lose, it's not really a big deal. It would be nice to keep Eli in the Senate. And it's really more about that than it is about... this is just a science law, we're not going to bother. It's more about that than it is about that law, because him being in the Senate is providing us with extra industry on every point of population everywhere, which is significant. In 2 turns, we'll have Citadel extensions, and once we have that, we can have Zosmanos build us another behemoth, which is pretty good for us. Does that say 2? Why would this be 2 ships? Don't we have, like, 6 behemoths? Oh, are the fleets are, like, very slightly desynced. They're a tiny bit off, so it's 3 fleets of 2 ships each for some reason, rather than a fleet of 6. And then is that the last thing before the... It is. In 2 turns we'll be able to start on another Endless Tech, and I imagine we'll do quite well on it, because we really do have a ton of science output. But also, it's entirely possible that we're just going to win the game in a second here. Yeah, okay. Actually, we probably win the game. We're going to cross the threshold at the beginning of this next turn. I don't know if the victory will actually trigger then, or if we'll have to have one more start of turn sequence in order to win it. But we got there. And we got there commandingly. My guess is that everybody else was way behind. It's possible that some of the players were close to a science victory. I think that's at least feasible. But we were definitely way out ahead on Dust. Especially with a lot of the other AI players, yeah, not even building any trade companies until well after turn 100. So let's go ahead and go to our score screen. I mean, first we're going to get our little outro video, but I'm curious to see what the numbers that everybody else was generating looked like. And we totally could have sped that up if I'd been a little bit better about remembering to spend our dust every turn. We were buying up the trade companies as quickly as we could, instead of with 1,000 tiny delays. I bet we could have shaved a couple of turns off there, but obviously it's not like we were close to losing or anything.
Though the unfallen prevail and grow, the ancient spirit that as the heart may fade, like the lost, into history. But we remain strong and resolute, and the galaxy will feel our harmony.
Yeah, I mean, that basically looks like what happened. So, one thing that I always find really interesting in these games is the idea of overall score. I have never played a 4X game where score represented how well the players were doing at winning the game. And, you know, you would imagine that's the only thing that it's actually for. If score was good at predicting who was winning, then it would be really useful as a way of, like, AI could target people whose score was higher. And, like, this game does use your score as a way of generating pressure against players who are lower than you. But for some reason, the Lumeris have a way higher score than we do. So what was their dust output? Their dust output was lower than ours from, it looks like maybe turn 130-ish. So actually, for most of the game, they were doing better than us. Now, obviously, they're an endless level AI. They started with a huge head start. It should have been possible for them to stay ahead of us. But even so, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the amount that they did it. We had science output greater than everybody. No huge surprise there. Remarkable influence output from the Lumeris. 25,000? Sorry, 250? 250,000? That's... Hold on, that can't be influence output per turn. No, that's total accumulated influence. Okay. I was going to say, that would be a very impressive number. Oh, so this isn't in a lot of games, these are graphs of per turn outputs. These are total accumulated. So the Lumeris were the major contributing partner to our victory for the vast majority of the game. Well, good on them. The Lumeris had way more systems than we did, which allowed them to have way more population. But, you know, in every way that mattered, we were doing pretty well. We had some dips here and there. It's interesting that the Lumeris did not see... Oh, you know what? I think the Lumeris have a racial trait that causes their trade fleets to be not blockadable. That's why they didn't experience a drop when the rest of us did. When I allowed the Cravers to blockade our systems for more than a single turn. Is this heroes score? I don't know exactly what this means. It's probably total combined level of your heroes is a pretty significant factor in it, I'm betting. So that's why we're way up here. We had a lot of heroes and then also just a lot of levels per hero. And our military score was still absolutely miserable, even at the very end. It looks like we were the lowest in the game, except for the chorus, for the entirety of the game. So hey, good job us on managing to never get shot at in a way that mattered, so that we didn't have to bother with building military. But I will say, now that they've refigured how the top tier endless technologies work, so that you have to have text from multiple quadrants in order to get to them, it does make a lot more sense for an economic player to research military tech more heavily, so that you can get Wealth of the Endless. And we could have done that in a more balanced way, you know, instead of researching everything all at the end the way we did. We could have made ourselves more defensible. Didn't need to, but could have. That is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, we're going to do at least one more game. I'm not 100% sure who I'm feeling yet. Actually, let me pull the overlay back down here. Let's go look at the races real quick. Let's look at the factions and try to figure this out. So, Vidyani are unusual. A Vidyani victory would probably be pretty different from the stuff we've seen so far, so I was leaning toward them. But there's a lot of weird stuff going on in this game. A science victory, with a Sophon science victory, would probably end up being pretty similar to the one we just witnessed. It's very internal and very focused on just driving numbers up. So I'm a little reluctant to do that, even though it is technically a different victory type. But if you have anything in particular that you'd like to see, you know, feel free to voice that in the comments. And now, we're going to put the overlay back up and say thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time tomorrow for the start of another game. And we'll see you then.